Hey everybody, it's Johnny RENZULLI here. I'm just going to touch on a few things today. So, Robert DeNiro was at a political event last night. I mean the Tony Awards, because that's what award shows are now. Political events. They're not awarding awards or, awarding people for the good job they do. They're awarding people for following a certain political agenda, which is why I and a bunch of other people do not watch award shows anymore. So Robert DeNiro came out on stage at the Tony Awards with his hands raised and his fists high and said, "Fuck Trump." No, fuck you, Bobby, okay? Because I'm not going to say fuck you to somebody that wants secure borders, somebody that wants to keep American jobs in America. I'm not going to say fuck you to somebody that's at the Singapore summit that's trying to avoid World War III with a crazed dictator who shoots off missiles when he wants. So fuck you, Bobby. I'm also going to stand next to somebody that just signed a bill, which Trump did last week, for veterans who served this country and gave us our freedoms and fought for our flag and fought for our anthem, the VAs, the veterans, that they don't have to wait at the VA hospitals or wait in lines or go to certain hospitals when they need things done immediately. They can go to any doctor or any hospital and be helped. Because if you're serving this country, you should be taken care of the minute you get back till the minute you die. You should be taken care of. So, fuck you, Robert DeNiro. We're not going to fall for this agenda you and the rest of the Hollywood global elites are trying to push on us, because you got in front of an audience full of rapists, pedophiles, and people that have fucked their way to the top literally and figuratively. You're nothing but a phony. You're nothing but a fraudulent agenda seeker. We see it. Our eyes are open to it. Here in America and globally, even in Canada, in Canada's biggest province, Ontario, after 15 years of being run by liberals, Doug Ford trounced the competition, the equivalent of to Hillary Clinton. His opponent was Kathleen Wynne. She got trounced. Even Canadians are waking up to the fact that multiculturalism does not work when certain individuals are involved. Okay? You have certain individuals that are vehemently against what the West stands for, and these individuals are being shoved into countries where there's freedoms for women and gays and Jews and Christians, and then you're bringing in people from parts of the world that are vehemently against that. Islam. The word Islam is submission. Look it up. The word itself means, in religious terms, voluntary submission. Let's cut the voluntary and let's just say it's submission. If you don't submit to Islam, you are then an infidel. If you are then an infidel, you don't even deserve to be alive. So when you're taking individuals who have that mindset and putting them into a country in Canada or in Europe where they're free Western countries, and you're bringing those people in, of course you're going to have conflict. It's like mixing water with oil. It's not going to make a good vinaigrette. And luckily and thankfully, individuals all across this globe are saying it. Here in the United States, luckily in Canada, because ever since Trudeau said, open borders, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya. You can't hold hands and sing Kumbaya with people that want everything you stand for annihilated. And then when they see that some people in these Western countries are protecting these people, protecting them, they're actually protecting the individuals that want their freedoms and rights taken away from. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. So on June 9th in Great Britain, there were over 20,000 people in the streets of Great Britain protesting the release of Tommy Robinson because his freedom of speech was denied in that country. They had protests and marches in Australia, Germany, Tel Aviv, in Europe, in the British Isles, in Washington, D.C., all across the globe. There's nothing wrong with preserving your culture. There's nothing wrong with preserving your country. There's nothing wrong with that. We're living under this narrative today where if you are proud of being white, if you are proud of being from a certain country in Europe, you are automatically labeled a racist. You are automatically labeled a neo-Nazi. That is absurd. If you're black, you're allowed to be proud and black. If you're Asian, you're allowed to be proud and Asian. If you're Hispanic, you're allowed to be proud and Hispanic. But the minute you say you're proud to be white or from a certain country in Europe, you're labeled and vilified right away. That is absurd. Now, I'm sure there's people out there watching and listening saying, oh my God, he's such a racist. No, 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 I'm not. What I am is a realist. I see things, I hear things, it computes in my brain, and that's how I see it, and that's how I feel. Be proud of who you are. Don't let people say you're not loud or proud to be white or proud to be Irish or proud to be German and preserve those countries. You have boats coming into Europe through the Mediterranean from North Africa and the Middle East every day. And bravo to Salvini and bravo to Italy for shutting down the port in Sicily today with over 600 migrants in boats heading into Sicily. They shut down the port, but Spain had to open the port. This is going on constantly in Europe, but the mainstream media is never going to let you know about it. So thank God for outlets like Facebook and YouTube, so people could film things and we could see what's actually going on in the world, and not only what the mainstream global elites want us to see, because that's all they want us to see, because they're pushing a narrative. A narrative is being pushed to annihilate certain people so they don't exist anymore. I'm here, and a lot of other patriots are here in America and globally to avoid that. Multiculturalism doesn't always work. And right now in 2018, with refugees and migrants flooding Western countries, it's not working because they don't like what you stand for. Everything you stand for, all your freedoms, they're vehemently against. And then you have some people in those countries protecting them. You're protecting people that want you annihilated. Listen to what I'm saying. They want you annihilated and everything you stand for annihilated, and then you're protecting them. Makes no sense. I am not here preaching hate. I am here preaching to you truth and fact that's happening globally around the world. Again, there's nothing wrong with preserving your land. There's nothing wrong with preserving your culture. There's nothing wrong with preserving your language. There are no-go zones all over Europe. Sweden, the women can't even use trains because they are now no-go zones because migrants and refugees are laying in wait, waiting to rape Swedish women. You're not going to hear about that on mainstream media. You're not going to hear about the violence that's escalating in Great Britain in mostly Muslim communities, which are no-go zones. You're not going to hear that on the BBC. You're not going to hear that on Sky News, because these individuals that are in power in these European countries are shackled by the throat by the EU. All European countries need to get out of the EU ASAP. That's what needs to happen. So, back to my initial start of this video, fuck you, Robert De Niro. Fuck you, ladies of The View, because you motherfuckers can say anything you want. Could you imagine if this was 8 years ago and somebody got on any award show and said, fuck Obama for giving those Iranians millions and millions of dollars in cash? Because that's what he did. because he was working hand in hand with them, which is why we're in the problem we're having today. But nobody will say that because nobody wants to tarnish Obama's legacy or all the individuals involved in his presidential legacy. They're all wrong, but only certain ones are exposed when they all should be exposed. It's bullshit. So yeah, fuck you, Robert De Niro. You're nothing but a piece of shit. A piece of fucking shit. And I used to like you, and I used to respect you. You're only a quarter Italian. You look Italian, but you're only a fucking quarter Italian. You're still a fucking disgrace. Raging bull? No, Robert. Raging bullshit. I'll leave you all on that. Ciao. Have a wonderful day. Ciao, ciao.